feet.
280 feet.
Which is exactly what mine.
So I'm getting ready to run.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
That's thin air up here.
I'm getting ready to run for city council, and I'm going to have for $52.80 my donation.
Well, it makes sense.
The good thing about it is you just told everybody your plans. See, John, to be always talking, we don't know when to stop. We live. I'm listening to
Hill House Dining. Hill House. Cleveland think tank people.
Yeah.
Milstein.
Yeah. That's.
We're about to get it in. Everybody, we are live right now, and it's Friday. This is the Friday show. JB and BJ.
I gotta lean in, man.
I'm the Leo. He's the Scorpio, and we got this fine gentleman square right in the middle.
A Taurus.
A Taurus.
Oh, man. The bull up in the house.
This is about to be. This is about to be.
Straight no chaser.
Oh man! Hey, you all, listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Why is wealth important? Your wealth will determine where you live.
Huh?
Where you live will determine where your children go to school.
Yeah.
Where your children go to school will determine the quality of your children's higher education, and the quality of your children's higher education will determine their lifelong earnings.
Whoa.
And your children's lifelong earnings will determine where your children live.
Uh-oh.
And where your children live will determine where your grandchildren go to school.
Uh-oh.
And where your grandchildren go to school will determine the quality of your grandchildren's higher education, and that will determine their life. Do you see the cycle of poverty?
Uh-oh. I can tell this is going to be on.
Oh, dropped it. You just dropped it right there.
Dropped it. Dr. George Fraser is in the building. Give him a round of applause, you all. We're about to get this cracking. I promise you. Listen, free thinkers, we're going to get it in, and we're going to talk about black economics, the road to black economic success. You know, Dr. George Fraser, we have this trigger alert that we have everybody get exposed to before we even get it in. So we need you to read that to the viewers and tell them.
Okay, we're here. Okay,
Yeah,
right
let them know.
All right. This is a show that triggers people because you have entered a free think zone. Now, if you're not willing to be exposed to other points of view, tune out now.
Right now.
Hello. And you don't need to read the comments. You have been warned.
You've been warned. You've been warned.
That's good.
So now it's on, because at the end of this show, I'm expecting you all to not have any excuses about why we're not moving forward with the dollars we have, the dollars we collect, and the way we spend those dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. George Fraser, Cleveland-based author, entrepreneur. The bio is incredible. We'll get into that. But I like this part where he says we're going to create and we're going to be the #1 employer of black people in the 21st century. Black people employing black people. That's revolutionary. That's what you're talking about.
You're talking about recycling black dollars. That's recycling black dollars. No question about it. So that's the vision. That's the goal, and we're going to get there. There's no question about it in my mind.
Dr. George Fraser, can we do it? Can it be done? I mean, what's the barrier from creating black folks, creating jobs, and employing black people?
Mindset and consciousness. Mindset and consciousness. Now, that's a whole. We could spend a whole show on that.
We've been programmed.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We've gone through a psychological holocaust second to none in the history of humankind. We really don't know who we are. We don't. I don't know if we even love ourselves.
Whoa.
Wow.
Because, see, when I look in the mirror, if I do not love what I see in the mirror, if I do not love me, there's no way that I can love you, because when I look at you, you become a reflection of me. That's called low race esteem.
Low race esteem.
Break it down.
Low race
Break it
esteem
down.
is developed by low self-esteem. So when you don't really understand your God-given power, who you really, really are, take a trip to Egypt, take a trip to Cairo. You will understand that we are the children of the slaves that would not die, that we have the genetic encoding of the great kings and queens of Africa, that we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when other cultures were living in huts, eating each other.
Hadn't come out of the caves.
That's right.
Hadn't come
Had
out
not
of the
come out of the
caves.
caves. And in spite of the fact that America kept its foot on our throat for 350 years.
And counting.
Yeah, and counting. We overcame that and we rose like the phoenix. So if everything happens for a reason and serves us in some special way, and we will never understand that reason looking forward, we will only understand it looking backwards. If in fact that is the truth, think about this deeply. Maybe we were not brought here, maybe we were sent here.
It's a clinic. It's a clinic already. Listen, you all, it's all you better get your seatbelts. You better buckle up. I don't know, it's moving fast.
Well, they've even
Let me finish.
I'm telling you.
So maybe we were sent here. Do you believe that God would put his weakest people here to do his toughest job? I don't think so. How could an American who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another two people, natives already in America, and Africans brought to America, have any moral or spiritual grounding? And perhaps had God not sent African people here, America might have self-destructed.
Whoa.
What am I saying to you? We are the moral and spiritual grounding of this country. We are an awesome and powerful people, except we have not realized our full potential. We are overcoming a 400-year psychological holocaust that is in effect, in many ways, with many, has changed our DNA. And we need to get back to what James Brown said in the 60s when I was growing up. Say it loud. I'm black.
Did he said say it loud?
Didn't he?
Say it loud.
I'm black and I'm proud.
Stick it right there.
Man, BrotherJeff.com. There you go. Say it loud. You are in the say it loud, black and proud zone.
There you go.
Go and give me this card.
Dr. Fraser, I'm going to need you to speak up because the viewers are going to say they can't hear you. And see, you're from Ohio. Cool. And you grew up in a period of debonair style, excellence, and you were surrounded by a community that reflected you.
Yes.
I mean, you probably saw black dentists and doctors and bankers and all of it.
In the neighborhood.
Right where you grew up.
Right where I grew up. I grew up with Dr. King. Now remember, I've lived in Cleveland, Ohio for 51 years, but I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Okay?
All right.
Bed-Stuy, right? So when you from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York, people think you're either a thug or a gangster. I'm a gangster. You're going to find that out in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Right? But I grew up with Dr. King in one ear, Malcolm in the other ear, and Smokey Robinson writing the lyrics for our music instead of Lil Wayne. Now, there's no comparison between the lyrics of Lil Wayne and Smokey Robinson. I grew up when Gil Scott-Heron said the revolution would not be televised.
All right.
Right?
Tracks of my tears.
Right. And you know, we were doing it. We were wearing afros and dashikis, right? We were at the Olympics doing the Black Power signs, and there was a consciousness about our people at that time.
Wow.
Right? The music reinforced it.
Yes.
The poetry reinforced it. The Gil Scott-Herons and the other brothers who were the last poets. I don't know, this is all old school. You guys don't know.
No, I'm talking about.
Google it. Okay.
Google it.
Google the last poet.
You can do it.
Google Gil Scott-Heron, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And so when the music changed,
all right,
in our community,
right,
we changed because we're highly influenced by music. We are. See, black
rhythm
people,
is in us.
The rhythm
is in us.
See, black people learn differently. We're oral, visual, tactile, kinesthetic, and auditory.
Oh,
right.
Say that one more time because they missed that.
Visual, tactile touch.
Yes.
Kinesthetic energy.
Man, I feel smarter
and
already.
Auditory. Right? We are an oral people.
Yes.
White folks are an archival people.
They quantify.
Right. They write shit down.
Yes,
In fact, the world in America is still being run by books written 500 years ago. Right?
St. James.
So we have the oral tradition. Now there's a certain power to that, and But we need to move to archival, and more black people are writing than ever before. More black books. I've seen more black books published in the last 20 years than I have seen in my entire 73 years.
You got a couple of them.
Yes. Right? Yes. Exactly. So, and I've got 6 of them.
Well, I got to take a pause for a second and tell you all that Dr. George Fraser is in the building. He's in the Mile High City. You free thinkers should make some noise. You should put your hands together. You should do something that is going down in the 50s and 80s. And I don't want to continue without telling you all why Dr. Fraser is here and how you can have personal contact with him, how you can have a personal moment with him, how you could, he's a real brother. Right. You're not sitting next to one of these highfalutin superstar leaders that you can't get to, you can't touch, you can't access. You can't say, hey man, I need to ask you a couple questions that will point me in the right direction and send me on my way. This brother is right here. He's right here in the Free Think Zone. And Benzel, there's a presentation tonight? Is there a dinner tonight? What's going on?
So tonight we have a Power Broker dinner, which is for our sponsors and those who want to contribute towards the big festivities, which are happening tomorrow. Okay. The 28th at St. Joseph's Hospital. We're starting 8:30 to 1:30. We have a visioning session.
Well, I'm going to talk all about that in just a second. But when you say St. Joseph's Hospital and they see all these black folks running up at the hospital, they don't think somebody got shot. They don't think Pookie done rolled up in there again. Where in St. Joseph's Hospital? I mean, it's a complex.
We're in the Rainier Auditorium.
Thank you. Okay.
And we walk right past the board of directors. So one of the things that we're going to have to do is stop, take a picture right where it says board of directors, but we all have to stand up and kind of cover some of them pictures, because I'm going to tell you what, they're all white.
Well,
but they are trying to open themselves up to community and move in a different direction.
Well, the community will definitely be there tonight and tomorrow, and that's why you're in town. We want to welcome you. What are your impressions when you pulled up? Is this the first time in the 52?
No. I've been here many times.
Oh, you've been with the Black Economic Summit with Carla Ladd on several occasions.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I love your town. This is a great city. It's a beautiful city. There's unlimited opportunities for black folk here, and unlimited possibilities. In other words, what I'm saying is I look around the city and I've taken the tours of where we live and where we don't live. It says to me that there's tremendous opportunity for self-improvement. There's many things that we can do. Let me say that differently. So let me give it to you straight, no chaser. White people will not be saving black people. In case no one
roll that back. Run that one back.
Let me just say that one more time. White people will not be saving black people. It's been 400 years, brothers and sisters, and we ain't saved. Okay? So let me say that a little bit differently. White people are not even thinking about black people. Do you know who white people are thinking about? White people. That's who they're thinking about. They're thinking about their husbands, their wives, their children, their aunts, their uncles, their neighborhoods, their schools, their businesses, and your pockets. And you can't hate on them.
What's in our pockets?
Right? Huh? Money. That's what's in our pocket.
How much?
A lot of money. Let's see. It's in the billions. The billions. Was it
1.6 trillion?
1.6 trillion. It's beyond billions. It's 1.6 trillion, according to the Seelig Center at the University of Georgia. $1.6 trillion is what goes through our hands every single year.
But we are not a producer of anything.
No, we're consumers.
We are consumers of everything. Our money just goes to keep us happy.
JB, can we consume our way out of this situation?
What we need.
Can I buy something?
You can buy something, but it depends
from somebody else.
But where do you want to buy it from? That's the question.
So let me give you a piece of advice.
Here's some advice.
Here's some advice for you brothers and sisters who are waving the flag of recycling black dollars. This is a powerful thing. This is a good thing. We need to buy black. Ain't no question about that. But if you're thinking about business, absolutely buy black, but sell to anybody. Because the real color at the end of the day is green. That's the real color in this country. In a market-based economy, in a democratic capitalist society, the only color that really matters is green. Because when we finish pontificating ad nauseum about our issues, somebody's got to write a check. Okay? Our Jewish brothers and sisters can write a check. Our Asian brothers and sisters can write a check. Our Arab brothers and sisters, I just returned from Dubai, can write a stupid check. Right?
Whoa.
We can't write a check in spite of the fact that we're 1.2 to 1.6 trillion dollars in annual consumer power in this country.
And why is that?
Right?
Because we're getting checked. We can't write a check, we're getting checked, JB.
No, we ain't getting checked. We've been checked.
We've been
Right?
checked.
We've been checked. Right, and unless we do something about this, unless we do something about this, statistically, we're heading into a second slavery.
Whoa.
And when Donald Trump is leading
Right?
us,
We're
leading
headed
the way.
to a second slavery, brothers and sisters. It will be economic and financial slavery.
Wow.
Because the predictions, according to the Institute of Policy Studies, is by 2053, 10 years after white people become the largest minority in America, okay, 10 years after that, the black median wealth will be zero by 2053, according to all of the statistics.
How does that work? A median income of zero?
Zero.
We're not even going to collect cans?
Well, you need to ask the brothers and sisters in Boston how that works, because there was an interesting front page article in the Boston Globe December of last year. I hope you saw this. It made national news, right? Now we're talking about Boston. Boston is one of the wealthiest cities in America. It is the bastion of elite education. Harvard, MIT, Bryn Mawr, Sarah Lawrence, Boston College, Boston University. It's one of the richest countries in America. And so the Boston Globe had a front page article that was so egregious about black people, they even had to qualify it in the headline of the article. The headline was on the front page above the fold. And the headline basically said, "This is no typo. Black median wealth, the median wealth of black Bostonians is $8.
What?
Look it up. Google it. Right? The median wealth, the black median wealth is $8.
Look, you can't.
$8. Now, what did I just say? Is that all the statistics and all of the research says it's going to take till 2053 when we will have no money. Well, black Bostonians don't have any money now. They're 25 years ahead of schedule.
This is
So what's up with that?
They're trying to be there first.
Right.
It's too much.
Another first for black Bostonians.
But
Hey, look,
go ahead.
Boston Globe, you have to remember this. Now, and I know you remember, but they had a Pulitzer Prize winning photo on the front page of their paper, what, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where they stabbed the black man lawyer coming out of the federal courthouse with an American flag. They stabbed him right in the chest with it.
Wow.
That picture stands in my mind. Look, Boston is one of the most racist cities in America. They were the last city to even integrate sports.
So are you saying that there's some places that are more racist and some are less racist?
You couldn't go across the Charles River if you were black in Boston.
Wow.
Trip out on that.
Let me ask you this question. It's so deep because right here, and I'm sure because you travel extensively.
8.5 million frequent flyers.
That's extensive.
I'm maybe one of 25 people in America that's working on 10 million. When you reach the 10 million,
You fly for free.
You get in a very special category.
They open the door for you.
No, I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging. That is not
That's
bragging.
a lot.
Yeah, that's
But that means you've seen some things.
Yeah, I've seen a few things. I'm 73 years old. I've given over 2,000 speeches, written 6 best-selling books. Right? I am a race man. I am a race man. What is
Me
a
too.
race man?
I'm a race
A race
man.
man is a person, or it could be a race woman, is a person that has committed their time, talent, and treasure to the investment and upliftment of their own people first.
There you go.
Their own people first. So I'm a race man. I'm 40 years into serving black people.
Wow.
So I've seen
There it is. You see,
I've done a few things.
so I wanted to talk to you about gentrification because you talked about Boston and they're having $8 medium incomes. To live in the environment that you're in right now, you need to be making about $5,000 to $7,000 per month.
That's right.
I mean, just to get in the game. You haven't you ain't got no pizza.
No.
right.
You don't got no health care.
No,
you don't have no extensive I'm talking about you just got a house
To
over
live
your
here
head.
in Denver.
Yes,
Yeah.
you got a house over your head.
Yeah,
That's going to put you at $120,000 a year range to get you qualified to get a house.
That's right.
How is this game getting played? Because I'm sure if we went to your hometown, that black neighborhood where you grew up, and is probably populated by white folks.
That's right.
There's a lot of restoration. There's a lot of investment.
That's right. Bed-Stuy is no longer Bed-Stuy, in case you know. It's now Stuyvesant Heights.
So now, how is this? What do we need to know? What do we need to do from here moving forward?
And by the way, if you've been, I was in Harlem giving a speech at the Schomburg not too long ago, and it was culture shock. Harlem is now majority white.
Yep.
Yes.
Right? They're little white girls, they're white women
Pushing
in
the
the stores,
baby.
pushing babies.
Coffee
down
in the hand.
Malcolm X Boulevard.
This is the Harlem of the West. You're in the Harlem of the
Yeah.
West right now.
Oh,
It's the
this is
same
5
thing.
points.
Right,
This
right.
is 5
This was
points.
5 points.
Yeah,
This is where black entertainers who couldn't stay in white hotels
Yeah.
came up here to stay at the Rossonian
Right.
and
Right.
play jazz.
Right.
And so this was their cross-country stop. They'd stay here for a day or a week or whatever,
That's right.
and then cruise on to their next gig.
Right.
But this was
The
the
Chitlin
stopover.
circuit.
Yeah, this wasn't on the Chitlin. This wasn't on the Chitlin circuit. I mean, this was off the circuit because the Chitlin circuit was down in south.
Yeah.
That was south. This was an add-on. This was
The ham hock circuit.
We got to get off the
It's
damn.
the ham hock circuit.
We
It
gotta
was
get
still
off
on the pig.
No, we got to get off the damn train circuit.
Right.
We got- we
But
can't-
where do we go from here with the gentrification? Because my argument is a lot of us left because we thought what we had wasn't good enough. We had to go get better, which sometimes means if you sit next to white folks, if you're closer to them, then you're successful.
Their little jeans would jump into our.
Yeah, and then when they left
we would
you,
be smarter.
when they left from over there and
Right.
came back to your stuff, now you can't get back to where you were at. I mean, where do we do? Where do we go?
Well, I think the next step around gentrification is to convince black people to keep their property. So,
But they make it difficult. They make it
I know,
difficult,
they
Doc,
make it difficult.
because
I
you know what they do.
I know. This
They
is easy to
raise,
say.
They
I know.
raise the taxes.
They raise the taxes.
And then they won't let you. They'll redline you out of insurance.
That's
They'll
right.
redline you out of a loan.
It makes it difficult. That means you gotta have that earning power. You have to have earning power, right? So let me say that differently. Money is the mother's milk of all intentions. Without money,
Yeah.
all you have is a good damn intention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So if our intention is to, in fact, defeat or at least get in on a piece of the gentrification action, we need money.
What about all of our entertainers and athletes who are making ridiculous amounts of money that they get left over from their agents? Why don't they pool their money? Why don't they pool their money and buy radio
Gave you the
stations?
opening comment, said it's a slave mentality. It's some stuff in our head that doesn't think like that.
I know. How do we change the mentality?
How do you change the thinking?
You've got to raise the consciousness. We need conscious brothers. Now, we have seen athletes who have demonstrated the kind of consciousness that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Muhammad Ali.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Jim Brown.
Yep.
Right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There are some. And there are some black actresses and actors who have demonstrated consciousness, who are always going back. We're always giving back. I'm from Cleveland. LeBron just wrote a $40 million check to send 1,100
Go on,
black kids to
LeBron.
school.
Go on,
That's
LeBron.
consciousness.
Go on, LeBron.
That's consciousness. So we have to convince those that are earning the millions, because it ain't that many now.
No.
There's not that many, and so
And if they get down on their knee when NFL starts, they're gonna be fewer.
so here's my recommendation. Here's my recommendation.
Here it comes, you all.
For those brothers and sisters that are making stupid money and are not giving back to our community, we got to do something that we have never done before.
Uh-oh.
If we want something different.
Call them out.
We have to socially isolate and ostracize them. If you are a Jew of means and you do not give back to Jewish causes,
Yep.
you're out.
Whoa.
Don't even come to the synagogue.
Wow.
Where all our business is conducted.
Italians.
Wow.
That's right,
Italians.
right? So we have no system like that in our culture.
No.
So if Dr. Dre showed up at a church who just gave not just a couple of years ago, gave $40 million
To the school.
Yes, right. And didn't give 1 penny to a historically black college, right?
Right.
But if he showed up at a black church, A, there would be a line around the block. B, he would not only sit in the front, he would be up on the stage behind the
Pulpit.
the pulpit, right? So we would love on Dr. Dre.
Wow.
Right? That would not happen if he was Jewish.
Wow.
Right? So we have to now. Maybe he has done something since then, because he was called out on it. He was called out on it. People made mention. So maybe he has done something since then. But I'm just saying that's an example of what we need to do. We must socially isolate and ostracize those brothers and sisters of means that do not give back to their own people.
Wow, here's what I got to do real quick, you all. I got to tell you, and you all know this, free thinkers, how we run this operation. We do it by 7 donations a day. Any amount, we don't care. It's the little train that could. You go to brotherjeff.com, you get in your pocket, you pull something out, I hear money. There it is. We need 6 donations today. Dr. George Fraser. That's the 100.
6 to match that.
Can we get 6 to match that today? That's that big head Benjamin right there in my hand. Because some of you are older, you remember them little head dollars. These are the big head dollars. And you know, if you go to brotherjeff.com, you make your contribution. We got your Black Community of Colorado cards. You can be a card carrying member like Dr. George Fraser of the Black community. If you don't have that card, you're going to have some problems. You're going to be ostracized. You can't sit in our pulpit without that card.
Be socially isolated.
Socially
right? Don't come to our party.
Don't come to it.
Right? Don't come to the club. Right? We're going to point you out.
So, listen, tomorrow, Saturday, July 28th, and this is an opportunity for you to spend time. Halisi, Benzel, and others, they made a call for all the black leaders to come together. All the leaders of organizations. Keith Dorsey, they all said the leaders of the organizations come together. NAACPs, urban leagues, your fraternities, your sororities, your church leaders, all of these individuals, they've asked us to come under one roof and formulate a plan. And it's happening tomorrow, so if you didn't know, you need to know now that Dr. George Fraser is here for that reason. You've got some guidance, some wisdom, some understanding from our community, coming into our community to look and say, here's some of the things I've seen, here's some of the things that may work, here's some of the things you might want to consider. And guess what? It doesn't even cost you money to attend. This is the part that bothers me. If you don't show up tomorrow at the St. Joseph Hospital, which starts at 8:30 a.m., just right around the corner, and talk about the courageous conversations about race and creating a black utopia, then on Sunday, don't talk about all the problems, that litany list you were talking about. We don't want to hear that Sunday. We'll hear some of it Saturday, but we're going to have some solutions on Sunday. Benzel, what's the contact number? How do they get involved right now if they need to get in touch and they're not already registered for this free gathering?
Go to your page,
brotherjeff.com, or go to Facebook right now.
Facebook, Brother Jeff's Facebook, and there's an Eventbrite link on there, and you can get registered for the public event that starts at 2 p.m., which is Dr. Fraser just speaking. If you want to be there for the whole day, call 720-277-4168.
Say that again.
720-277-4168.
Okay, the next person who calls right now, 720-277-4168. You call that number right now. We're going to see it ring. We want you to call that number right now. I want to just hear somebody say, Benzel, what's up? I'm just calling. I'm going to get somebody to come with me to this thing tomorrow.
That's right.
Hey, Doc,
you should back it out.
Have you ever heard of the Topographical Research Center that they set up in Chicago back in the day?
Yeah.
So we used to go to that, and they had these big books. They would give your address, your parents' name. They would tell you what your income was going to be at your as your parents' educational level and what your educational level could be. We went to this place, and when you came out of there, you felt so empty, you felt so hollow. Came to find out, you know who ran that center? The CIA. They wanted black folks to go in there and feel like they had nothing to live for. And I'm telling you, people swore by this center, Topographical Research Center. We were like, okay, somebody needs to throw a Molotov cocktail on that building or something. But it was horrible because they had lines of people waiting to get in this place to see how much they would make, where they would live, what their educational level was, and it was all set up by the government.
Wow.
Man.
Dr. Fraser, I wanted to ask you a
I want to
question.
talk about my little frog card.
Okay, we'll jump on that, but I wanted to ask you why the president 45 will not or does not have to release his taxes.
It's not the law.
He said he was going to release them.
It's not the
What
law.
would you see
He's
if
a
you
liar.
saw him release those taxes? Would some of the game be revealed?
Yes.
The curtain would come up.
He is stupid, but he's not that stupid. So if the law does not require him, thank God for him. He's not going to release it. The only way he's going to release his taxes because there's so much damaging and information, I believe, in his taxes. If you get a forensic tax attorney to go through his taxes, I think the gig is up. So he understands that. He knows, right? So he's not going to do it unless he is forced to do it. And that's the bottom line. He is a liar. He is a cheat. He is a bully. He's a con man. He's a thug. All right, and that's who he is, man.
Is that how they create? Is that the wealth generators and the wealth controllers? Is that the mindset of a lot of that? They say 1% of the population controls almost like 95% of the wealth.
Well, that's who his friends are, or people he wants to be his friends.
Yes.
He's going to give them the breaks so that we like Trump. He's
I thought
helped
the
us
system
out.
already gave them the breaks, though. Ain't that how the game is set up? Like Monopoly, when you play Monopoly, everybody starts with an equal amount of money.
Well,
But that isn't how the real
World.
Monopoly works.
No.
Everybody don't get that stack to start with.
No. He had a stack to start with, no question about that. But when you have money, the objective is to get your money. That's the objective. I mean, if you think about Monopoly,
This is classic.
I mean, you think about the classic game Monopoly, the winner has all the money.
All
the property,
Right?
all the
property,
and
all the real estate,
everything.
that accrues all the money.
And no
That's
matter
how
when you roll
in
the
America.
dice, when
Right.
you roll the dice, no matter what your next move is, you're gonna get penalized
That's right.
because you're on somebody else's
That's
property,
property.
and you know they done put
That
the
is a
hotels on it.
metaphor.
I
That
told
is
you
a
don't come around here.
metaphor
I
for
told you don't come around
America.
here.
That's right.
Don't
course.
come around here no more.
That's right.
You're not welcome.
That's right. That's right.
But we used to have that little cheap property nobody would purchase, that little purple property on the back end on the other side of Baltic Avenue or whatever.
Right, Baltic.
They done put hotels on Baltic Avenue.
That's right.
Dr. George, in the hood you got paid parking meters now.
That's right. That's right.
Can't park
That's a
overnight.
tax.
Can't park overnight in front of your own house.
That's a
That's right.
tax.
That's right.
And if you stay up too long, you're gonna get a ticket.
That's right.
If you don't pay the ticket, it's gonna double. And then they're gonna put a boot on your car.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna tow your car. Then you
won't
gotta
let
pay to get your car
and
out
won't
of
let
town.
you get your license
That's right.
renewed.
And in some urban neighborhoods, if you do not pay your water and sewer bill,
Lien.
they can put a lien on your house.
And the critical one
Right?
on that,
That's it.
the critical one on
Right,
that, it's
right.
not your water bill,
No.
it's your sewer bill.
Yeah,
You
that's
get
the one,
that
too.
sewer bill and you think, oh, it's $43. Man, they will slap a lien on that if you go
Right,
past that
right,
date.
right.
And all of a sudden you got collection notices coming and people coming to your house knocking on
So-
doors.
Now, but what do we do
We're
now?
headed
Yeah,
into
we're
a
on.
second. We're headed into a second slavery unless we man up and woman up and
Underline
educate
that.
our people.
Yeah.
Underline
Educate
that.
our people regarding building wealth. And we are a financially illiterate people. I mean, it's just evident. Not all of us, just most of us. That's why we're in the shape that we're in. So we have to educate our people. So we are doing something about that.
Wow.
Yes, you had a question, dear?
Speaking of education, can you speak on property taxes and how it ties into education?
Yes. Yes.
Property taxes
Property.
and how it ties in to education. And that's by the way, that's Manushka. She owns Chubby Curls. So she's a business owner and she's putting it down. She's growing
Yeah.
she's growing locally, nationally, and Chubby Curls is gonna go international soon.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Now, property taxes are driven to a great extent by business development within the community. the more business there is in the community, the more jobs that there are in that community, the more desirable it is for that community, right? Therefore, the more value for the housing, therefore, the more taxes you pay. When business abandons your community, as they did, for example, in Cleveland, they abandoned the Huff area. It used to be a hub of manufacturing in Huff where the riots were in Cleveland, but they abandoned that, right? The housing values dropped. The property values, taxes dropped, and then the schools were abandoned, right? Because property taxes are assigned, or a portion of the property taxes are assigned to schools, right? So the less property taxes they're collecting, the less dollars they have for your school. Now, I happen to own 2 charter schools. I've owned them for 15 years.
Wow.
Right? I educate 300 inner city kids, 60% of them are black boys, right? Now, people ask me, Dr. Fraser, are charter schools the answer? No, charter schools are not the answer. It's an option, it's a choice, right? And we need options and choices because God wants us to have unlimited choices. And then it's the management of our choices that is the essence of living. So it's a choice, but urban education has to be fixed. Not everybody is going to charter schools, right? So urban education has to be fixed. When will that be fixed? I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's been 20
you are a part of a courageous conversation right now, and there's going to be more tomorrow. And if you're a sponsor, you will have access to this information tonight. And if you call Benzel and you just need to get in, we don't push nobody out. If you need to listen, do not make money a problem for you. You come and learn how to get some money.
That's right.
All right?
This reminds me of a story. I did a big speaking engagement. I was signing books. All right. So I had a table full of books, and people were lined up and signing the book. And somehow or another, 5 of my books were stolen. Now, do you think I was angry? No. I was happy that some Negro stole
some books.
That's a wonderful thing.
Secret.
That's a wonderful thing. I mean, he or she, maybe they couldn't afford it, but they wanted to read it. That's a good thing.
They were looking for it. They were looking, Doc. They were looking for a safe because if you want to keep anything from black people, where do you put it? In a book. They'll never find.
Well, I'm telling you,
never find.
Dr. Fraser put this $100 bill on the table, and I just looked into the tea leaves, and we need 6 donations because you all are enjoying this conversation. You're getting this wisdom, but you're not ponying up today. But it's all right. Maybe you can't. Maybe you'll do it tomorrow. But we need some of you free thinkers to go in and make a donation of any amount. It doesn't matter. Go to brotherjeff.com. If we're not going to fund our own movements, like you said, nobody's coming to. We waited 400 years.
And we ain't saved.
And we're not saved. Go ahead, JB.
We're powered by the people. This is all for the free flow of information. That's all we're trying to do. Give free flow of information to you people in Denver and wherever.
Well, we go around the world. You got the Congo. This technology takes us around the world.
Wherever you can see us. Wherever you can see us. That's it. And the bottom line is, when you have somebody of this caliber coming to talk to you in Denver about how to make money, how to pool our money, how to pool our resources, somebody ought to listen. Somebody ought to come and listen.
You were pulling out your card. Let's talk about some of the pieces that you were going to talk about in terms of the mindset.
Sure. About 8 years ago, on a trip to Ghana, I started thinking deeply about, because I get the question all the time, Dr. Fraser, what is it you think that we must do in order to turn this thing around? And so I thought deeply about that. I prayed on that. I slept on that. On the trip back from Ghana, the download came. And then at the conference, we put on a big conference every year called the Power Network Conference. This is our 18th year of coming up. I introduced to the 1,500 people that come to our conference every year something I call the frog card. It's a little card of the 5 most important things black people must do in the 21st century to turn our situation around. Now, the reason I call it the frog card,
There's a frog on it.
right? There's a little frog on the top of the card sitting in a pot of boiling water.
Oh, I know
Now,
this one.
I know you know the
Yep.
story, right? And it's science. This is not hype. It's true. That if you take a frog and put it directly into boiling water, it will immediately pop out. But if you take that same frog and put it into a pot of cool water, it will sit there and cogitate and think. Then if you turn the heat up just incrementally and the water became lukewarm, he would still sit there. And then if you turned it up a little bit more and it became a little warmer, he would still sit there. And that frog will sit in that pot even when the pot gets to boiling and essentially boil himself to death.
Wow.
He will not move. Now, the reason I use this metaphor is I believe that's the state of Black America at this point in time. We are the frog in the pot of water.
Wow.
And the heat is being turned up on us incrementally and ever so slowly, and many of us, if not most of us, do not recognize it, and we just sit there. Then there are others like what we're doing here, we realize this. So, as I thought about it, I said, okay, what are the 5 mindsets or consciousness that we need to begin focusing on for the 21st century?
All right,
One,
here we go.
One, that Black people must have a narrower cultural vision. A narrower cultural vision. That we must focus on excellence and making Black people great first. You must focus on making us great first. Not America, not Colorado, right? Not Stapleton.
We can focus on us.
Right. Making us. We're all in on focusing on making us. And as we become great and maximizing our full human potential, organically, the areas around us will become greater.
Wow.
In fact, America will never realize its full human potential until Black people become great. Right?
Wow.
So, but we've got to do that. I've already said that, right? So we must have a narrower cultural vision, and we must focus on making our own people great first.
Wow. Imagine
Okay?
that.
All right.
So
Now-
do we start with older folks, or should we be focusing on our young people?
Why not all of them?
Both. All of them. We need to focus on our young people, but our young people need eldership.
Okay.
Our young people need to hear from you. You are the wise ones, right? You have the experience. They need the guidance. They have the energy. You have the knowledge and the information. So it has to be a combination of both. They cannot get there without our mentorship and guidance.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Right? So you are an elder. I am an elder. You are an elder. You are delivering information that is important and powerful. All right? So that's number 1. We already talked about number 2. We must socially isolate and ostracize those Black folk who are of means that do not give back to other Black institutions.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't
Now-
get my dollars if
Right,
you don't give me
right,
some of
that's right.
yours.
That's right. That means the preacher got to call them out from the pulpit, right? And we have to invest in ourselves. And we don't have that many Black people making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars a year. Ain't that many. So the few that are, right? The few that are really need a level of consciousness that will require them morally, spiritually to give back to their own. All right?
Wow.
It's very important.
It seems like when we talk about, like in Chicago, we had the Freedmen's Bank, we had the Seaway National Bank, we had Black banks. I'm sure they had them in Cleveland as well.
Yes, absolutely.
New York as well.
Yes.
But here we tried to have a Black bank. One of the preachers opened it up. Next thing you know, the investigators were here shutting down the bank because the preachers then took all the money. Who do we trust?
But-
Who do we trust?
okay, but JB, I gotta ask you
Who
this.
do we trust with our money?
But I gotta ask you
because
this.
black folks don't trust nobody with their money. Try to be an insurance agent. Try to be a financial agent, and go to a black person and say, "All right, we'll try to figure your wealth. Now, how much do you make?"
But
People
JB,
don't want to tell.
I want to push back on that just a little bit
just saying.
because that's true. Well, I don't know the details about why the bank went out of business. You know, there's a whole lot of different reasons about that. But if you go back to Reconstruction and you think about the hopes and the aspirations that our people put into the Freedmen Bank,
Yep.
those were the white folks in the government that stole those people's money.
That's
why
true.
we still do business with them? Why do they get a pass?
That's true.
I mean, it's easy to say what happens with black folks between black folks, but white folks will do anything. And we still running around talking about how much money can I give
All
you.
I'm saying is, how do we get each other to trust each other about money? That's the issue. Because black folks don't want to talk about to other black folks their money issues.
Well, Dr. Fraser just went in his pocket and pulled out a big head Benjamin. He said,
he's got the
and
big
then I'm
head-
going to give it to there, and then I'm going to give it to there, and it's
he's-
going to circle around.
And he's got the big head Benjamin in his pocket. But what I'm saying is, ask him how much money he makes a year. Ask him how much. That's what I'm talking about, Jeff.
Yeah, well, he's gonna make millionaires, and he's look at this.
Already
Look at this
made
goal.
millionaires.
He's a millionaire maker. And I know you're at point 3 in your list, but I want to ask you in terms of a person who wants to start their journey to financial, economic independence and freedom. What advice would you give to them as a starting point?
To get educated around the art and science of money. And it's a very simple little formula. And it's one that we are teaching in our WINS Wealth Building Centers. WINS Wealth Building Centers. We're going to have 10,000 of these wealth building centers. Many of them will be faith-based. They'll replace the old wealth ministries. Right, there you go, WINS, right there. He's got a flyer.
There was
right
a
there.
wealth ministry.
Right. That's our WINS Wealth Building Centers, right? So we're going to have 10,000 of these by within the next 20 years. They
Wow.
will replace the old wealth ministry that really needed a new coat of paint, if you will, a new strategy, a new curriculum, and they needed a different level of expertise teaching in those wealth ministries. What level of expertise did they need? They needed brothers and sisters who are already embedded in the financial services industry. There are 130,000 black people in America who are already licensed in a financial service industry. They're either, it's 50,000 who are selling insurance, black people. There are 35,000 who are selling stocks in the banking industry. There are 8 to 10,000 who are selling stocks and bonds and certified financial plan. There's 130,000 educated black people. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Somebody checking in on their money.
That's right. I'm talking about money. Somebody called me. So that's what we have to. That's what we have to do. So we have to educate ourselves. And so here is the fundamental curriculum. This is I'm going to simplify. We have our own curriculum. It's an African-centered curriculum. It is designed to help us learn the way we learn. We're oral, visual, tactile, kinesthetic, and auditory. Right. So the fundamental curriculum says that we must understand and engage in the 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. The goal is to have 1 million dollar babies.
That's right, $1 million babies.
Within the next 20 years.
$1 million
Once
babies.
we develop, in other words, this is a child that you may have or a grandchild, that by the time they are ready to retire, they are worth in excess of $1 million or more. In
$1 million
cash.
baby.
There you go.
All right?
Cash.
So that's
I said
$1
cash.
million baby. Now, when we do that, that will be $1 trillion of transfer of intergenerational wealth. That will be the largest transfer of intergenerational wealth in the history of black folk in America.
Wow.
$1 trillion. So that's the goal. 1 million million dollar babies, whether it's our children or our grandchildren or our great-grand. And there are ways to do that. Simple, low-cost, almost no-cost ways to do it. So
Wow.
you can do it by understanding the 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. What are they? The first pillar is real estate.
Okay.
What is the first thing God gave Adam? Real estate. What's the first thing God gave Isaac? Real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. Whether you own a home or whether you have commercial real estate. We've been here since the Mayflower, and we still own the fewest number of homes per capita of any cultural group in this country. And again, we came over here on the Mayflower. So real estate is one of the pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. All right. In fact, it's one of the cornerstone pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. That's why it disturbs me when you say that on the gentrification front, and I see it in Bed-Stuy, we see it in Harlem, we see it here in Denver,
South Africa, you see it everywhere you go.
We are giving up our real estate for pennies on a dollar. We think we're getting rich. Oh yeah, my grandmama bought this house for $18,000. I'm able to sell it for $200,000. Yes, you are. You'll get your $200,000. They will take it. They will regentrify it. They will improve it, and they will own it for 1.2 or 1.3 million.
And they'll tax that $200,000 you got, and then you can't even put a down payment on a place somewhere else.
That's because you're illiterate about the power and importance of real estate. So real estate is the first pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. The second pillar is equity and ownership. Equity and ownership. Equity. So let me explain this to you.
Break it down, Jake.
The Forbes magazine comes out with an edition once a year called the Forbes 400.
Yep.
Yes.
It's the 400 richest people in the entire world, and they evaluate them and they grade them.
Yes.
Do you know how 398 of the 400 richest people in the world made their wealth? Private equity. Private equity. Equity. Now you can either do it through private equity. That means you knew Mark Zuckerberg when he was just inventing Facebook, and he was trying to raise some dollars so he can build his business, and you gave him $10,000, right, to help him build Facebook, right? And this is before it went IPO. That's private equity, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? If you gave, by the way, if you gave Mark Zuckerberg $10,000 in year 1 or 2 of Facebook, it'd be worth about $20 million today. So this is how the richest people in the world make money, through private equity or through an equity play. An equity play is, for example, you understand that it's more important to buy Nike stock than to wear Nike sneakers.
Hold on, say that.
You understand that it's more important to buy McDonald's stock than to eat a Big Mac.
Oh my goodness.
Okay?
Y'all
So
are quiet
that's
out there.
equity. That's
This is
equity. That's equity. That's
Wisdom right
equity.
here.
So you can do public equity, or you can do private equity.
That's right.
The richest people, if that's your goal to be a billionaire, is done through private equity and public equity. Now, Warren Buffett is one of the few examples. Warren Buffett became the third richest person in the entire world through what? Public equity. He would buy 3,000 or 4,000 shares of Coca-Cola or McDonald's, right? That's public equity. And he had some private equity stuff too. So, equity is the second pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. The third pillar is business ownership. Business ownership.
Tax code is set for
Right.
business owners and landowners.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly what I say in all my talks. And no one tells us this, but if you don't own a business, you cannot fully exploit the American tax system because it was set up for the landowner and the business owner. Right? Right? So one of the reasons Donald Trump doesn't want you to see his taxes, or Mitt Romney doesn't want you to see his taxes. Mitt Romney didn't want you to see his taxes either, right? Because they paid very little taxes, if any taxes, because they were big time landowners and business owners.
Wow.
They fully exploited the American tax system. So we, on a percentage to income basis, we probably pay more taxes than Donald Trump or Mitt Romney or any of the other billionaires. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's very, very, very important. So business ownership is very, very important. So let me say that differently. In America, two things are going on 24/7. Somebody's buying and somebody's selling. Right now, we're doing all the damn buying. Stop it.
But I
Let me finish.
I gotta have Michael Kors on my stuff.
Yeah. Stop it, brother. So whether it's quarter time, part time, half time, or full time, sell something. Sell something.
Sell some Chubby Curl.
That's right.
Chubby Curl. Sell some Chubby Curl.
If you bake cookies, put them in a box and sell it to somebody. If you live on a farm, take the manure, put it in
Be
a
an
bag,
entrepreneur.
put your name on it, and you can become an entrepreneur. Okay? Stop doing all the damn buying and sell something.
There you go.
Oh, man,
Right? Business ownership. That's business ownership. And ultimately, as you get more successful at it, more knowledgeable at it, more mature and wise at it, you'll begin to employ your own people. Now, let me give you
Say
a
it
very
again.
simple thought. There are 28 million black-owned businesses in America. 28 million. That growth is up about 35% over the last 5-year reporting period. That's the upside. By the way, most of the growth is from black women. Black women are opening.
Black girl magic.
Black women are opening small businesses at double the rate of black men.
Why?
That's a whole nother story.
I know.
That's a whole nother
I
story.
know.
We
I
can
know.
talk all day about that.
I
Okay?
know.
Now, so the challenge with that number, though, is of the 28 million black-owned businesses, and there's growth in the last 5-year reporting period, only 111,000 of those businesses employ anybody.
Uh-oh.
Only 111,000 employ anybody. So the annual revenue of those 111,000 businesses that employ other black people is about $1.2 million a year. That's up about 11%.
Wow.
Right? That means that 26 million of those businesses are sole proprietorships. They don't employ anyone. And their annual revenue is $18,700 a year. And that's down 9%. So that says grow or die. Grow or die, okay? So we have a lot of new startups. We're seeding businesses. We're thinking differently. We're headed in the right direction, but we have got to grow or we're going to die. And everything in life is that. Look at everything that God has ever put on this earth. It's either growing or dying. It's growing or dying. You cannot stand something. You got to grow or die. So we have to grow our businesses. We have to grow more businesses, and we have to grow our businesses.
Wow.
Now, of the 20, this is an incredible statistic. Of the 26 million black-owned businesses that are sole proprietorship, if only 25% of them employed one other black person, we would solve our own unemployment problem.
Wow.
I didn't say all of them. I just said if just 25% of them were able to grow and employ one other person other than themselves that looked like them, we wouldn't have any unemployment in the black community.
Now, Dr. Fraser, listen to this, because the point you're making right now, our sister Samaya right there, who goes to Langston University, we employ her. Your free think dollars have gone to make sure she's working and that her community is supporting and getting behind her vision. I know I've got to go to some of these free thinkers. They want to check in because we've got to go. By the way, Sochi, thank you. She donated $100. Give Sochi.
Hey.
She was over there yesterday, and she said she was going to match the highest donation. She came in this morning. She matched 100. George matched that 100. It's moving. And by the way, look, she says she's a real estate agent, and that's why she became a real estate agent, because our black and brown indigenous communities need to have that representation to help them into home ownership. So don't act like you can't find someone who looks like you to help you get into some real estate. You've got to do that. Denver Dave says he loves you. He said, I love this dude. That's like one of them man crushes. I love this dude. No more complaining about racism and gentrification. Let's build. That's what he says. Jice Johnson. I'm sure we're gonna see Jice tomorrow, right?
Jice will be there.
Jice, I mean, you're gonna meet some of the heavy hitters from the community tomorrow. It's gonna be a great opportunity to get together. He meant 2.8 million businesses, not 28 million businesses. I think that was her comment right there.
No, that's right. That's right. She's right.
She put in the correction. See, the free
That's right,
thinkers,
she's
they
right.
pay close
That's right.
attention.
Yeah, they do.
That's right. They do.
Close attention.
I moved the zero there. I've got the stats. She's
Benzel,
right. She's right.
Benzel has put up the link. So again, if you need to get in touch, just go and reply to Benzel. We gave you the cell number, and I didn't even hear Benzel's phone ring. 720-277-4168. Somebody should call and say, how can I get on this particular train? Yeah, see, those are the statistics.
She's right.
So much moving ahead. I'm just going through your, Brother Jeff's Cultural Center, we do this. We got 93.9 FM. We got community FM radio too. We got 5 Points News. We're going to talk about that Egypt trip. I think we're going to set up a Wins Wealth Building Center at Brother Jeff's Cultural Center. I think we should set that up. Manusha, you think it's a good idea? We should set that up?
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Brother Jeff is employing.
Yeah, we put a payroll together all the time. So, to build and to be responsible for our own community is
important. You've been on that
mindset.
mindset, Brother Jeff. This is just a manifestation of that mindset that you already have that Dr. Fraser speaks on.
See, so if we partner up, we get stronger.
And a lot of this was tried by the Nation of Islam under Elijah. Elijah Muhammad tried it. He bought land in Alabama, Mississippi, and places like that. Started farms, everything else.
Banks, restaurants.
Look, in Chicago, we had the regular businesses in the black community.
What happened?
Beauty shop, liquor store.
So what do we learn from this?
So, if his son hadn't come in and dismantled all those businesses, they'd still be up and running. They'd still be up and running if Wallace D hadn't put the X on it.
Well, if you study the history, it's always been a trick to take what somebody else has. If you can't protect it, you're going to lose it. And so you better be careful if you own something. That's why you got a lock on your car. I went past all of y'all's cars downstairs, and they all was locked.
There you go.
Why? Because you wanted your car when you got out there, and some of you had some stuff inside that car that you wanted to protect. We the only people leave our community unlocked. Everybody get to walk in and take what they want. But we're changing it with this conversation. The Lighthouse the Lighthouse group with Woo Woo, Big Woo, right on, he said he's going to come through. He's helping. He's doing all he can. He's got a huge network that supports what we do, will support what you're doing. Talk about that Egypt trip, because that's going to be huge.
Oh, my God. Now, this is, just very quickly, because I promised you the 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer.
Right, you're on the last
Ryan
one.
said real estate, equity, and then business ownership, and the final. This is cute. This is key, because 60% of all wealth is transferred using this strategy and tactic: proper insurance. Proper insurance. Right? So there's an interesting article in the New York Times about a year ago. It said that more black people had insurance on their cell phones than on their lives and the lives of their children by a factor of 10. Wow. 60% of wealth is transferred through strategic and tactical placement of proper insurance. I will not donate any more GoFundMe funds to bury your aunt.
It's a got real.
We can't even bury ourselves.
Hot grits.
Right? We cannot even bury
Gerald over there
ourselves.
shaking his head. Gerald, are you all right over there?
I got
So through proper insurance, for as little as $100 a month, I can show you how to make your child or your grandchild a millionaire. Right? Right?
Get that 529 again.
Right? There's a million ways to do this. Now, part of it is not our fault. Part of it is, it wasn't until 1965 when Cirillo McSween was the first brother hired by New York Life to sell sophisticated insurance rather than the debit burial insurance that my mama and daddy paid $5 a month for that barely buried them, by the way.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it wasn't until 1960 we only had access to the strategic and tactical placement of good insurance beginning in the mid 60s, right? So we have a lot of remember the insurance industry is 190 years old.
Yep.
190 years old. We've had access to it in the last 40 or 50 years.
Keith, this is a
right?
There
So
you
this
go.
is critical. Critical. So the brothers and sisters who will be running the WINS centers will be licensed in real estate, they'll be licensed in banking services, they'll be licensed in insurance, because when we take you out of darkness into light, you are going to need
A guy.
a guide. You're going to need these financial products and services that will help you transfer wealth intergenerationally, and we are going to put our instructors and our WINS directors in the business position to make sure that business, that financial services business, is recycled back into our own community.
Well, with all of that said, I
Man.
hope you went to brotherjeff.com. I'm looking at I'm looking at the donations, and I'm seeing there are a few of you that need to check in if you can. Go to brotherjeff.com, make that contribution. Black Star Action Movement for Self-Defense. Jesse Parrish has checked in the Free Think Zone. He said they will be there tomorrow.
That's right.
The crew will
Now,
be there.
Egypt. I talked about this right at the beginning. I have traveled all over the world. I have 8.5 million frequent flyer miles. I've been to every country and every continent on the world at least 3 times. Okay? I've traveled around the world at least 20 times.
And back
all right?
again.
And back again. That's exactly right. The most important trip I've ever taken in my life, which was actually 4 years ago. I've been to Africa 31 times,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
I've been to South Africa, Central Africa, West Africa, East Africa, all over North Africa, but I had not been to Egypt. I had not, it was on my bucket list, I had not been to Egypt other than 4 years ago. And I went for the first time with a very close friend of mine named Anthony Browder. Now, if you don't know who
Tony Browder file.
Tony
Here it
Browder
comes.
is,
Here it comes.
if you don't know who Tony Browder is,
Tony Browder file.
delete yourself from this call. Right? This is the baddest and the most
What?
accomplished black Egyptologist today. All right?
Yeah.
Today. He replaced effectively Asa Hilliard, the great Asa Hilliard, who used to open our conference, the Power Networking Conference.
Who graduated from Manuel, the Asa Tubman Hilliard Academy. Asa Hilliard, come on, y'all. Yeah, we got to get this history together.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So
His
Tony
wife graduated.
Tony was mentored under Asa.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
So Tony is the only brother
Yes,
in the world that has his own dig
Yes, sir.
in Cairo.
Yes.
Okay, in the Valley of the
Covered
Kings,
professionals.
right?
That's right.
So we go to Egypt once a year. Me and Dr. Quad David Whitaker, who's the chief of a village in Elmina, Ghana, right? It's a 400-year-old village. The 3 of us take a small study group to Egypt every year.
Yes,
It's
sir.
a deluxe, premium, platinum tour. It's first class everything, because that's how you Negroes like to roll. You like to roll first class everything. First class information, first class hotels, and we've included in our 14-day trip, 5-day, 4-night cruise on the Nile to Abu Simbel, right? I mean, this is the bomb.com. It don't get no better than this,
I can't
with the
take no
best
more.
minds, the best instructions, the best sites, the best treatment, the best food, because that's how we roll, right? Because that's how we should roll. We should want the very best for our people. So this trip, the next one is March 5th through the 16th. In 2019.
right.
That's our next trip. Tony's been to Egypt 55 times. 55 times. So the brother knows a little something
Right.
about
Wow.
Egypt. Now, if you'd like to get the flyer, you can get it by email.
We'll post it on this
Right.
link too.
We'll post it on the link. If you want to email me directly, just email me at gfraser, Fraser, at frasernet.com. gfraser@frasernet.com, and I will send you this very beautiful, top quality flyer that tells you all about this trip to Egypt.
You know why
there.
You know why this is one of the last places in Africa you went? Because white people want you to think that Egypt ain't even in Africa.
I know that.
That's right.
They want you
That's
to
right.
think. No,
That's right.
It's in the Middle East.
Oh, it's in the Middle East.
Middle East or what?
Hey, look here.
That's right.
Who built the pyramid? Who built the pyramid? They come back, the archaeologists came back and said, you know, this was aliens from outer
That's
space.
no,
Of course, they will say
There's a
that.
video. There's a video on
Who made the Hanging
Washington
Gardens?
Monument got
Who did the Timbuktu? Who had the universities at Timbuktu and Hanging Gardens and Nebuchadnezzar and all that? Oh, that was the fish people. Those were the underground fish. They must have been you know, like Fishman, man. They came up from the.
Well, all I can say is if you enjoyed today's show, give a round of applause.
You want to go to Wakanda on the real. This is Wakanda on the real. This is 6,500 years before Christ. This was Wakanda. This was the real Wakanda.
Dr. George Fraser, I'm telling you all, here's what you need to do. Just get on the link, get them. No mas, we're tapped out. It's our cup running over.
Yeah.
Be there tomorrow. We're not giving you any more today, unless you go to the special session tonight.
That's right.
And you can call Benzel. I haven't heard his phone ring. See, we can leave I'm not gonna go there.
No, come on.
Because you know what I'm gonna tell you all? The frog died with a smile on its face.
Hello.
It's not the fact that the frog died.
That's right.
The frog died smiling.
Because he didn't know no better.
He didn't know no better.
How do you boil a frog and let it die with a smile on its face? That's science. Quick question: Marvin Gaye or Al Green?
Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye.
Temptations or Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes?
Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Wake up, everybody.
Delphonics or Isaac Hayes?
Oh God, Hot Buttered Soul, Isaac Hayes. I like the Delphonics, but Hot
La
Buttered
la
Soul.
la la la.
First Academy Award for music.
Oh.
By a black man.
You got to come back.
He got his black card.
You got that black card working. Did Prince really die without a will?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that.
I'll never believe that.
No.
I can't believe
Did somebody
Prince
say?
died.
Did somebody say?
They said
Yeah.
Prince doesn't have a will.
That's why the family is feuding.
Just because-
Somebody stole that will,
Yep.
buried that will, hid that will. How can you
That's
how
right.
can you secure your future and make sure that your information still survives after you've been gone? Is there a way? Is there a suggestion you have? What do you do? Because I don't believe Prince didn't have a will.
No, you gotta make it legal, man.
Yep.
You gotta make it legal in America. They will tie you up
Yep.
in court, and they still fighting over James Brown stuff.
Hello.
You know
Oh
that.
my
right?
gosh,
So
read
they
that
will-
book.
They will, and you know who will win? The lawyers will win.
Yes.
The state will win.
Yes.
You got to put it in
writing.
writing.
And get it notarized.
Right? We are country rule of law. Rule of law. They keep saying that. Rule
James
of law.
Brown put his in a will, and the lawyers consorted with the judge and took that money, and none of that
Yep.
money he wanted to go to those poor kids went to the kids and went to legal fees. Go
Yep.
get that book. It's called Kill 'Em and Leave.
That's right.
There you go.
It's a good book, James. James, I met James Brown right here in that next room.
Next
over
room.
there.
Let me just
hit it.
But one more on the frog hunt right now. This is deep. But think
Bomb
about
is
this.
deep.
I'm gonna drop a bomb on you.
Uh-oh.
All right?
Come on.
Are you ready?
Gap band.
We must coalesce around our vision and not just our pain.
Say it again.
We must coalesce around our vision of economic development, wealth creation, thinking positive, and not just our pain. When somebody puts a bullet in the head of a young brother or sister, we will march, we will protest, we will come out by the thousands and thousands and thousands. We will saber rattle, we will yell and scream. But when we start talking about recycling black dollars and economic development, ain't nobody marching, ain't nobody yelling, ain't nobody complaining, right? Right? Our vision for the future has to be about the economic empowerment of our people.
Wow. With all that said, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for looking in. He told JB you went to a bougie school too.
Hold on.
You went to a bougie
Hold on.
school.
I went to Central State University
That's right.
first.
All right, there you
Come
go.
on now. And who donated the business school there? Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
Before
Now
you
they
guys
wanna
get
know-
up, I gotta
now they
tell you
wanna know,
guys,
should they give the money back?
Wow, this has been deep. Again, thank you for being. Did you ever meet Sugarfoot from Ohio Players?
I did. Oh yeah, yeah.
It's all, see?
Ohio Plays is bad.
Oh, wait, did you ever go? Did
Fire.
you ever go to the Cadillac Lounge on the circuit?
Yeah, of course.
Come on, baby. Come on. Cadillac Lounge.
All right, everybody, don't forget. If you go down swinging, you just might score a knockout. If you look up, you can get up. Rumble, young man, rumble, young woman, rumble people.
That's right.
Rumble, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you tonight, tomorrow, and oh man. George Fraser.
Jeff, I threw the Cadillac Lounge on it. He used to have neon wheels that moved.
See.